The paradigm is quite a bit different when it gets to commercial, real estate, multifamily, or office or anything of that. Tell us where we are right now with regard to the interest rates and mortgages that we were talking about before when it comes to the commercial markets.
The challenge with commercial market, well, there's a couple things. One is office, commercial. Every segment seems to be performing a little bit differently at the moment, where multifamily housing, it has slowed to the similar extent that residential has, the single family residential or homeownership market. But apartments and multifamilies are now actually performing well again, given the strong job market that we've had, strong income growth, household formation. When you think about an apartment market or rental market versus a homeownership market, rental market is much more dependent on that job growth and household formation, whereas home ownership, it's a couple other things. So multifamily, in my opinion, is not doing as bad as we thought it was going to be doing,
Yeah.
Now,
at least yet, right?
At least yet, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think even with job, the forecast for unemployment rate of unemployment going forward, I mean, it looks like it's only gradually going to increase, and that increase is expected to come to some 4.5% by end of 2024, which is really where we historically have been in terms of rate of unemployment. It's sort of what a lot of people consider natural rate of unemployment, where the job market is not putting additional pressure on inflation, right, because of that wage growth.
To me, one of the major things that's different here is, first of all, when you look at larger assets, commercial assets, multifamily, debt structures are often very different. And also, when you get into these situations where, funds need to deploy capital or vice versa, they need to get out of real estate because of a closing fund and that kind of thing. How do those things affect what you see? I guess maybe you just start with the interest rates and different mortgage structures there, because certainly most of the time, even if you're fixed for 5, maybe 10 years max, and a lot of commercials still floating as well. So.
Well, right. I mean, I think what's the challenge right now is for commercial is that, that there's this huge volume of commercial real estate that's maturing, right? And so now they're maturing in this really high rate environment. And so what happens with those mortgages and those assets, I think a lot of people are talking about a wave of defaults, particularly for office group, but we're not really yet seeing that in many ways, So yeah. I don't know if people are working out. They're maybe getting some private funding, some equity private funding to help in this restructuring, or maybe they are subleasing. I'm not exactly sure, but because we don't track to perform commercial performance that closely in our data. We're mostly residential. We're very strong on all types of residential data, not so much on commercial. So, but at least what was expected that would be happening at this point is not yet. I mean, we're not seeing a wave of defaults. We've seen the serious delinquency go up for commercial, and it has gone up, maybe faster than historically, right? So, but the actual default is not happening yet. So,
how about delinquencies and defaults in multifamily, so apartment buildings? Do you have some data on how distressed that market is currently?
No, it's a very similar story where we've seen some increase in delinquency, so non-payment, but nothing that is yet significantly alarming. So that's what I mean. I think there's some workouts being done there, or maybe we have presumed a much worse outcome than it's in fact happening.
Yeah. Although I would argue that one of the things that's keeping this market afloat is right now is a lot of interest rate caps, and those interest rate caps that were purchased are basically stabilizing a lot of floating rates. And the question is, what happens when those caps start to expire? And there's either you're going to buy more caps or you're going to develop. So the question is, I guess, in part, like what we're trying to figure out in our group is, and I guess what we're presuming is that there's a pretty significant wave of distress on the way. But it sounds like from the data that you're seeing right now, that's not clear.
It's not clear. Yeah, I follow that maybe down the road, but I guess what I'm just saying is we're not yet seeing that.